Hello, my fellow VR enthusiasts. So, in today's video, we'll be looking at HTC VIVE Focus 3. And I'll just give you my general opinion about the headset and what I think about it. Okay, so maybe let's start with the design. Obviously, I like how the headset looks. It looks good, it looks sturdy, it looks professional, which might be important, especially in business use cases. If the headset looks good on users while they're in VR, then that's definitely a plus. And well, Quest 2 also, that it doesn't look bad, but it's mostly associated with gaming, and it's because of that it might not look as professional. Okay, so HTC Vive Focus 3 will look good on your head, but what about comfort? And yes, the headset is indeed comfortable. Halo strap makes for a good fit, while the knob at the back ensures headset always stays in one place. I mean, you can tighten the knob quite a lot, but I do feel like it's mostly meant to be used as a room scale or standing VR device. When you sit down or when you lay down, I don't think there's a lot of added comfort. In fact, you cannot lean against the wall because of the rigid strap and also the knob. So in some use cases, it might be actually less comfortable than Oculus Quest or Go. One thing that I'm not impressed with are the controllers. I mean, they feel unwieldy, they feel heavy, and just when compared to Quest controllers, they don't feel premium at all. In fact, they look and feel quite cheap and plasticky, and especially the trigger button, which reminds me of those toy guns you can find in supermarkets. Well, as far as the setup goes, it's kind of similar to what we know from Quest. You have to pair your companion app, agree to some terms and conditions or whatever. There's no Facebook, obviously, so there's nothing stopping you from using your headset. If you bought it, you can use it. I did, however, encounter a couple of weird bugs along the way. My headset, I couldn't pair it because I was getting messages that your headset's already paired, and I haven't been able to fix this problem yet. I've also sometimes had and sometimes still have my account superseded by another account which existed earlier. I mean, I bought this headset brand new, so I don't really know who VIP King is. But as you can see here, instead of seeing my account and my profile, I see some VIP King, nefarious VIP King that doesn't let me sign out. So clicking sign out does nothing. And after a little bit of digging, I found out there's a electronics distributor in China called VIP Shop. So some clues point in that direction. But even so, does it mean that if I do a factory reset, my details will also stay on the device? Or is there some kind of a broader bug with how distribution works? Well, who knows? But it is a little bit worrisome, and factory reset should definitely remove all of the details if that's what happened here. Okay, let's move on to visuals. HTC Vive Focus 3 has got like bigger resolution, bigger FOV, but I didn't really notice that much of a difference. Obviously, the resolution is higher. It's actually higher by 70% as compared to Quest 2. So there is improvement in quality, of course, but just don't expect it to be twice as good, or don't expect it to be 70% clearer. When it comes to the field of view, it's bigger overall, but there are some trade offs. It's bigger horizontally, but a little bit smaller vertically compared to Quest 2. So, well, in my case, again, I didn't find that new rectangular shape distracting. I kind of got used to it, no problem. But at the same time, I didn't notice it being a whole lot larger either. The field of view seems larger when playing games. I've played their card game, and it seemed a tad bigger. But if you're just planning to look at what's in front of you, like when browsing or doing some collaboration or whatever, then you probably won't really notice any difference. I didn't notice any chromatic aberration or any distortions or anything like that. So, the visuals are really good. The only problem would be a very narrow sweet spot. So when you put the headset on, you have to make sure that you've got that sweet spot just right. Otherwise, part of the screen can get blurry and look like this. And in my case, the sweet spot is really narrow. I mean, really. I guess it depends on your IPD and your head shape and some other elements. But in my case, it's just practically impossible to set it up perfectly. There'll be always a little bit of blurriness. And what can I say? It is a drawback, a significant drawback. I've also noticed there's less stereo overlap than in Quest 2. And by stereo overlap, I mean space that's not covered by both lenses. You don't have a full parallax in those areas on the far edges of the screen. You don't have a full 3D effect. So you want to have as much stereo overlap as possible. That's why, even though it might seem like a little bit of nitpicking, I decided to point that out because we obviously want bigger FOV, but not at the cost of stereo overlap. So, all in all, resolution might be higher, but I cannot say with clear conscience that yes, visuals are so much better just because of the resolution. There are drawbacks in form of narrow sweet spot, less stereo overlap, and more pronounced glare, which is common for all headsets that use Fresnel lenses, but it is a little bit more, or maybe not even a little, but it is more pronounced in Focus 3. So what next? Tracking works great. It works on par with the Quest. So basically, it works as intended. No issues there. I'm pretty sure you can play archery games. You can do fast motions, etc. Definitely a big improvement over Vive Cosmos. Okay, let's move on. There's an internal cooling solution, and I know some people have complained about the fan and the noise it makes. And yeah, it's true. Mm, you can always hear it. It's audible, but it's not a deal breaker. So it can be barely perceptible, like a slight hum. It can be louder, like when you're playing a video game on a laptop, and you can hear the laptop go into an overdrive, which can be also a little bit distracting, right? Once you get used to the background noise, if it suddenly shifts and becomes more intense, it kind of reminds you of the fact that there is actually a noise, and same with a little bit of airflow that hits your face whenever that happens, because then there's also a slight breeze that hits your face, and it does nothing to help you forget about the issue. I've actually seen one company try to give it a positive spin by saying the headset includes an active cooling system to help maintain comfort and maximum variability during even the most strenuous sessions. But let's make it clear, this isn't a feature. It's actually a byproduct. It's not like Vive and Chill that existed back in the day, that it's not meant to help you stay cool and not sweat. It's actually a byproduct of the cooling system that takes the heat of the Snapdragon processor. So, the breeze that hits your face is kind of warm, and it doesn't provide any relief. In fact, it's a little bit distracting, but you get used to it. It's nothing. I would say it's not really a major issue. What can be a major issue, though, is that HTC VIVE Focus 3 is brand new and its ecosystem is brand new and it's still in its infancy, and there's just not a lot content right now. There's not a lot to do. It doesn't have its own browser. There's Firefox Reality, but there's no inbuilt browser. There's no YouTube VR. There's actually no video app that would like Oculus TV that would give you some curated VR content, which is a shame, really. There's so many video apps out there. There's this famous Chinese app called Veer, so HTC could start by reaching out to them. Obviously, not having YouTube VR is a huge omission, so we'll see. And if you're not a developer, then you're gonna spend 1,300, put the headset on, and then you're like, what the heck? There's very little to do. And all the apps that are available, free apps at least, they're pretty crude. You see, here's like a meditation app. Okay, there's another app where you're like performing a COVID test on a patient, and as you can see, they're both very basic. It's like, what the heck? What the heck, HTC? Oh, and by the way, why is Hybo $50 when it's actually free on the App Lab? Um, Naughty, naughty, Hybo developers. I know people are desperate for content on HTC VIVE Focus 3, but still charging them $50? I don't see it as being fair at all. Fortunately, there's Hyperdash and Slurpees, Warplanes, and some other games, and they all cost more or less the same as they do on Quest 2 or PC, so it's not all doom and gloom. SideQuest works fine, but you cannot play any of these homebrew games unless they're going to be specifically compiled for Focus 3. So it works. You can access your screenshots, files, video capture, and you can also install APKs. They will appear in kiosk mode, for example, but they will not load. Okay, time for a verdict. What's better, Quest 2 or Focus 3? And the answer is Quest 2. Quest 2 is still better. If you're a business customer, it might make sense to purchase Focus 3. In fact, it might be a better option. But if you're a prosumer, consumer, Quest 2 makes way more sense, unless we're talking about some very specific circumstances. For example, let's say that you just don't want Facebook at all, but you still want some kind of a standalone headset. Well, I'm using Test Account on my Quest 2. And I can tell you there's way more on Quest 2, even without official store, than on Focus 3 with official store. But let's say you don't even want a test account. You don't want any point of contact with Facebook ecosystem. Then, well, right now, Focus 3 is the only viable option, the only viable alternative. Or in case you're a PC VR gamer, but and you are considering purchasing Vive Pro 2. Well, and you also don't have base stations, and you don't have Vive ones or Vive knuckle controllers or any of that. Well, in this case, purchasing a whole kit would set you back more than purchasing Vive Focus 3, and that's even without the wireless adapter that Focus doesn't need. So that's another possible scenario. I'm personally going back to Quest 2. So, and which is kind of regrettable considering the price difference, the price spectrum, right? But I will keep experimenting and testing different features on Focus 3. It's the first real alternative. So we'll see how it gets developed. Excited in a way. If you're a developer, you might want to port your games or apps to Focus 3 because the ecosystem is hungry for any content. But for casual users, casual users just have to wait and see how everything develops. So yeah, peace out and check my next video. I'm going to go through all free apps that are available on Focus 3. So if you're interested what content we're talking about here, check my next video and see you again. See you later.